Hi, good day to all of you. This is Jip Ng. Today I'm going to share with you a very short tutorial about a step-by-step guide to buy a condominium in 2022 and beyond in Singapore. Right, so without further ado, let's proceed to all the steps. Right, so the first step I think if you are going to buy a condominium in Singapore is actually to start your financial planning right. This is very crucial because buying a property is actually a big ticket item and you are talking about a loan of more than 10 years. So it's a long way to go, right? So start the right financial planning is very critical for property purchase. Yeah, so if you are into the finance planning, for your next purchase, bear in mind there are a few things that you have to take note. First of all, it's actually the total debt servicing ratio, or in short, we call TDSR. So this is something that will determine how much or the amount of money that you are able to borrow from the loan, from the bank, I beg your pardon, from the bank. And this is determined by your income and the age of the purchasers. Right, so it's called TDSR, and of course the next thing that you want to take note is the loan to value. So in Singapore, our maximum loan allowed here is 75% of the valuation price or purchase price, whichever is lower. Yeah, so it's only 75%. You can't go beyond that. So this is something that you might want to take note. And the next thing is called BSD, which is the buyer stamp duty. Right, so if you are buying a property having a valuation of more than 1 million, then your buyer stamp duty is equivalent to 4%. 4% multiplied by the purchase price minus $15,400. So this is a formula to calculate buyer stamp duty. And for those property who are below 1 million, then the formula to calculate is 3%. 3% minus 5,004 multiplied by the purchase price. Yeah, so I hope you have a clearer picture for all those things that you have to take note when it comes to financial planning, right? And the next thing, after you have done all your due diligence on how much loan you are able to borrow, that will determine what kind of house that you are able to buy. So you can actually start to go your house hunting. Yeah, there are plenty of platforms on internet whereby all the agents list their property for sales in the particular portals. You can always go and check. They even have the filtering function to select which area you want to look for, what are the price range that you want, and how many bedrooms, that kind of things. So you are able to do a very convenient search on the internet right now. Now, after you have find a property, you go and view and you like the property, but before you even want to make an offer or enter into any contracts, I will already advise you to go and talk to a lawyer, right, to understand from them, is there any issue on this particular property that you are interested. So at least the lawyer can do a search for you, right, so that you are not, you don't put yourself into a very disadvantage or dangerous position or risky position, right? So if everything is clear after you've spoken to the lawyer, you can then make an offer, right? You can start to enter into the negotiation with the owners, or if not, the agents that are advertising the units. So after all the terms and conditions, and of course, the very important, the pricing has come to an agreement, there's a time whereby you can start to enter into the option to purchase, yeah, and pay the option fee, right? So option fee in Singapore, a standard practice will be 1% of the purchase price. But of course, this is not fixed. It's not hard and fast rule. It depends on whether you and the seller agreeable to how much percent that you want to pay them. But a standard practice in the market is 1%, right? So after you pay the option to purchase and you get the option to purchase, remember to get the original copy of the option to purchase, because you are the buyer of the house. You pay the owner option fee in return to the option to purchase that particular house. So the original copy is supposed to come to you, right? And normally the option, inside the option will specify the address, of course, the buyer's name, and the option period, meaning this option will be valid for how many days, right? So in Singapore, the standard practice again is 2 weeks, which is 14 days, but it's not a fixed rule. Of course, it's open up for negotiation with the seller, or the seller, sometimes they will want to negotiate with the buyers as well, in case if they need a longer period, then it's depends on whether you want to accept it or not, right? But standard practice is 14 days. And inside this option to purchase also stated when will be the completion day. Yeah, so normally a practice is about 10 to 12 weeks to complete the deal. But of course, sometimes the owner might ask for longer period. So it's again up to the buyer whether do you want to accept or not, right? So it's not fixed, but the standard practice is about 10 to 12 weeks, right? And the offer to purchase, if they say it's valid for 12 for 2 weeks, which is 14 days, then you have to make sure to remember, go down to your law firm. You need to exercise this option to purchase before the option lapse, right? And this has to be done at your lawyer office. So when you exercise, remember to bring down a checkbook, because the lawyer will collect the exercise option fee, which is about 4% of the purchase price. Or they will ask you to issue a check, and this check eventually will be deposited into the seller's lawyer CBY account, which is very safe because the lawyer can't use the money for any other things. Yeah, and this is called exercise option to purchase. So after you exercise the option to purchase, within 2 weeks, then it's a requirement for you to pay IRAS, the stamp duty, right? The stamp duty. So normally the lawyer will collect the stamp fee when you see them to exercise the option, so that you don't have to run 2 times, right? And of course, then there will be a legal fee involved. For buying a property whereby they say it's less than $2 million in Singapore, normally the lawyer fee will be less than $3,000, unless if your property is having a bigger amount, so you will have to pay a higher lawyer fee, right? So this is how the lawyer charged accordingly, based on how much you have paid for the property, to determine how much is the legal fee, right? So after everything has been done, all the transfer document has been signed, then eventually by 10 or 12 weeks, you will complete the deal, and that's a day whereby you will go down to the law firm to pick up the key, and that will complete the buying process of a condominium in Singapore. So it's quite straightforward and everything is quite transparent. But of course, if you are not very sure, especially if you are first time buying, you don't know what kind of things you have to take note of, then it's good to ask for expert advice or get an expert to follow you, see through the purchase process. Yeah, I think that will help you a lot. Yeah, and of course, I also received a lot of time whereby people ask me whether, hey, are foreigners allowed to buy a condominium in Singapore or not? Yes, all foreigners, anybody are allowed to buy a condominium in Singapore, right? And normally, for condominium, it's not an issue unless they are buying a landed property. Then they are not allowed to buy a landed property unless it's in Sentosa, right? That's the only area whereby foreigners are able to pick up a landed property in Singapore, right? Which is in Sentosa. For condominium, not an issue. Yeah, so you are free to buy. And just do bear in mind that foreigners, ABSD, which is the additional buyer stamp duty on top of the BSD buyer stamp duty, will be 30% for now. Yeah. So what are the costs? The next question, what are the costs involved when buying a new condominium in Singapore? Yes, I think this is already mentioned. There will be a stamp fee, ABSD, which is the additional buyer stamp duty if you are buying a second property and beyond. And of course, the legal fee, there will be a legal fee, but one of the fee that normally you don't have to pay if you're buying a private property in Singapore is the agent's fee. So if you engage an agent to help you to look out for a property, you don't have to pay them a agent's commission. So that is something whereby I felt, I mean, you should make use of an agent you should engage a professional agent, an expert, to help you to maybe look out for property, search for property, and highlight to you what are the problems of the property based on their rich experience. Yeah, instead of you going out to do on your own, since you don't have to pay an agent's fee. I think it's good if you are able to find an expert to help you, right? So the next question I always receive from the buyer is actually asking me, is this a good time to buy a condominium or not? Yes, I think this is a very important question, and I think it's very common question, because right now people are worried about the interest rate, people are worried about the economy uncertainty, people are worried about the very high price of the Singapore property right now. So is it still a good time to buy property, or should they actually wait and see how is the situation before they make a buying decision? Yeah, so for this particular topic, I think I have prepared something very important slides, very in-depth research to share with all my buyers. So in case if you are on this particular topics, you can always look out at the link below. One can actually ring me so that we are able to set up an appointment for me to go through all this research data with all of you before you make a buying decision. So this is something that out of is not including in today's topic, but it's a very, very important topic, I believe, right? And with that, since this is a very short tutorial, I just want to congratulate on completing this session. So this is a very simple guide and to allow you to understand what are the first few steps that you have to take before you even start the house hunting, right? So if you are unsure of your property plans, or if you are thinking of buying or selling a property, don't put your property at risk. Click the link around this video to get expert advice. I think this is very, very important. This is Jip Ng, and talk soon.